Sheikh Yasser, I know that you are very much involved in da'wah in particular with, let's say, young Muslims especially. And alhamdulillah, Allah blessed you with a lot of success. So from your experiences, what are some of the keys, inshallah ta'ala, for the more success when it comes to giving da'wah to young people?
I think that one of the most important things that every single caller to Islam needs to analyze is his or her own strengths and weaknesses, and to see what niche, what role they have to play in society. The problem comes that I find extremism and naive assumptions on the part of many of the people who get involved in da'wah. They think that they have to do everything and they have to solve every problem, or nothing. It's all or nothing. And people don't realize that the ummah needs a healthy mix of lots of different professions. The ummah needs lots of different people. Even look at the Sahaba. I mean, the speciality of Khalid ibn al-Walid was not the speciality of Abu Hurairah. Neither was Abu Hurairah famous for war tactics and military maneuvers, nor was Khalid ibn al-Walid famous for hadith narrations. Yet the ummah needed Khalid ibn al-Walid, and it needed Abu Hurairah, and it needed Abdurrahman ibn Auf, and it needed Uthman ibn Affan. It even needed different characters, Abu Bakr's gentle nature and Umar's stern nature. Islam became perfect because it had both Abu Bakr and Umar. So there has to be a healthy amount of diversity in qualities, in professions, in outlooks, and all of this, as long as the methodology overall is the same and the goal overall is the same, there will always be different areas and different niches. And I feel that, for example, myself, my role is more of an educator, a teacher. It's in the classical Islamic sciences. Others, their specialty is social work. Alhamdulillah. Others, the specialty, like Sheikh Najjar, has specialized in Islam and science. Alhamdulillah. We need all of this. So every person analyzes his own strengths and also his own weaknesses, and then thinks, what can I do based upon my background, my skills, my unique personality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me. And it's not an all or nothing, because as I said, the two main problems I see, a person says, oh, I'm not qualified to give khutbahs. Okay, tayyib, you might not be qualified. Does that mean you do nothing? Maybe if you arrange a khutbah in your locality, if you're going to an MSA high school, maybe you can set up the stage for the speaker to come. Maybe you can advertise or do something. Or it's not just knowledge, it's also social work. It's also good manners. It's also presenting Islam in the classroom. So every single person can be an ambassador to this religion in a myriad of ways. And then the other problem, as I said, is overzealousness, that we have to solve the entire world's problems, or else we're a failure. You are not going to solve all the problems on earth. It's not humanly possible to do so. So you need to pick and choose your battles, your arena, wisely. And every person looks at what they can do, how they can positively contribute, and this is dependent upon factors in your control and factors outside of your control. The fact that I was born in America and I speak English as a mother language, and I grew up in a certain environment, automatically dictated me to go towards a certain path I would not have been able to go into had I been born in another land. These are beyond my control. And then what I do with my education and my career, this is within my control. So as I said, one of the keys to success is to individualize what is success for you. Okay? Of course, ultimate success is the pleasure of Allah. But how do we achieve it in this world? Wallahi, it could be different. You could go the path of Abu Hurairah, or you could go the path of any of the other Sahaba who showed us there are so many different ways to go. And what you do with your life and how you spend that life, you need to analyze, how can I be the most productive for the ummah, given the circumstances and the talent that I have been placed with.
And I'm sure, Sheikh Yasser, maybe some of the brothers will tell you, well, I want to be like Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. I want to enter Jannah from all gates of Jannah to have that option.
We say, may
However, we say that even with that, right, it's very important, as you said, to know your weaknesses, to know your strengths and so forth.
Exactly. And there will be some people who are following the footsteps of Abu Bakr, but how many Abu Bakrs did the ummah have, right? So be realistic and realize that not everybody will be a polymath, right? An expert in all different fields. Allah has chosen you to do something, do it perfectly, and alhamdulillah, you're set. So I guess I'll just give one primary trend that I see, especially amongst Western youth, and I'm sure it applies all over the world, and that is that because of the fact that scholars and activists are primarily the one who touch the hearts and minds of the youth, they see people on television or they interact with somebody, many youth think that the only way to benefit Islam is through academic, or the only way that I can do something is become a superstar da'i and go to Azhar or go to Medina or go to University of such and such and finish my PhD. But not everybody is cut out to be a scholar. And in fact, the majority of the Sahaba were not scholars in that sense. The majority of the Sahaba were not narrators of hadith. The majority of the Sahaba were not masters of halal and haram. and yet they were all occupying a very high rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think this is one of the biggest, I think, misunderstandings that pious youth have. Of course, we have many types of youth. The righteous youth, they think that the only thing I can do to benefit Islam is to dedicate my life to academics. But then things happen. Parents need you. You have to get married. You get a job. And somehow most people cannot go and study academic Islam. And therefore, they start living a very lackadaisical life, a very un-Islamic, maybe even nothing much to do with Islam, because they thought, well, I wasn't able to go to Azhar, I wasn't able to go to University of Medina, I might as well just live a mediocre life. What my advice to them is, look, if you can't become a scholar, that doesn't mean you can't do anything for Islam. Wallahi, scholars need non-scholars. Scholars need scholars in other fields. If you can't be a scholar of Islam, become a scholar of something else. Even if it's a scholar of social work, a scholar of building a masjid, do something productive and practical that Allah has blessed you with, and believe you me, every one of us has a role to play in that ummah. Some of the roles are more public than others, but that doesn't mean that those roles are necessarily better in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, there are millions of people, they are doing jobs in the sight of Allah, they are far better than those in the public eye, and they will get rewarded more because there is no taint of the possibility of wanting to show off. They're doing their scenes, they're doing their work behind the scenes. They're helping out orphans, they're building schools, they're doing charity work, they're specialized in Islamic science, for example. Whatever they're doing, as long as you're doing something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being productive and active, don't lose track if one field of specialization is not yours. There are many other fields of specialization as well.